Is Costco Executive worth it? We'll look at the levels and how they differ, the math behind executive membership, and 3 surprising features that you might not have considered. Big favor though before we dive into everything is to hit the like button to help with the algorithm. It surprisingly does help. If you want to make smarter money decisions, then consider subscribing. Starting off though, what are the levels for Costco? In the US, you pretty much have 2 levels, Gold and Executive. Gold membership is $65 per year. It's for you and 1 household member that's 16 and older, and it's for personal use. There also is a business version of this level, and there's one key difference. It's the same $65, you and 1 household, but it's for personal or business use. So for example, reselling things. For the business one, you can also add affiliated members that are $65 each, and they also get 1 household member. The catch though is that you do need to share business information when you sign up. So for example, you typically need either a business license, resale certification, or 3 pieces of business ID. A lot of options here, and it also does depend on warehouse, but I'd probably bring in EIN, articles of incorporation, and a bank debit card or statement. But yeah, I think you'd be surprised how many businesses just resell things from Costco. So for example, it's pretty normal for convenience stores, corner stores, or even some mom and pop takeout places. Ones that are a bit more weird are bakeries that might be reheating muffins and croissants and reselling them, and also cafes, but cafes feel a bit more fair. The next rung up is Executive. This one's going to be $130 per year, so 2 times standard, and it's you plus 1 household member as well, and it's for personal use, and you get 2% rewards. That 2%, the last one being the critical component. There also is a business version of this, $130 per year, you plus 1, for personal and business, so reselling, and also that 2%. Affiliate members here are a bit weird and different. So you can add them for $65 each, but it's going to be the standard business membership. It's not the executive one, and they do not get any executive benefits, and their spend also does not count towards your 2% rewards. So pretty much a non-factor. Main takeaway, you have 2 different levels, and within it, 4 different options. The main difference for personal and business is going to be the ability to resell things without them critiquing you, and then gold and executive is going to be that 2%. In our case, we have the standard executive one. That brings us to the key question of whether executive is worth it. So the assumption here is that you already have Costco. Costco by itself makes sense. Should you upgrade to executive? One of the easiest ways to figure this out is going to be a break-even analysis. So the idea is to figure out how much you need to spend with Costco for it to work out, and you have gold and executive on different sides. You pretty much have the equations for what the cards do in terms of the raw benefits, and you simplify. The difference here is $65 in order to get that 2%. So if you spend $3,250, then that's the break-even point. That's the magic number. If you spend more than that, then executive makes sense. If you spend less, then stick with standard gold. If you spend exactly that amount, then you're impartial. It also is pretty easy to check this. So $3,250 times 2% is $65, which is the difference between the 2 levels. Note that there is a ceiling for this, but it is also pretty high. The maximum you can get back per year is $1,250, and this is through Costco, Costco.com, and also Costco Travel. It is one pool though, so it's shared rather than different ones. For most people, you're probably not going to hit this level unless you're doing the business executive one and reselling things, or maybe doing a honeymoon or a big trip. $62K per year is child's play for a business, but for normal people, that's not really reasonable. There also are a lot of exclusions, and it depends on state. So most transactions that you make at the register and online are fine, and travel is fine once travel is complete. In the US, cigarettes and tobacco, gasoline, Costco shop cards, and postage stamps do not count for the 2%. Alcohol is very state specific. There is a pretty big list here, so feel free to pause, but by population, the largest 3 are California, Texas, and Ohio. So even though Costco in California sells alcohol, I'm not getting 2% back on this. It might still make sense to buy it given the very good pricing compared to places like Bevmo, but no 2%. Other things that don't count include prescriptions in Arkansas, Jersey, or New York, and same with food courts and the membership fees. Also, a lot of partner ones that are not hosted on Costco.com don't count, so insurance being a pretty big call out there. Okay, so let's say you're above break even, so it makes sense, but barely above. In that case, there are some other factors to consider. One big downside is that you only get the reward certificate once per year, so it's not monthly, it's not every week or something or as you spend. Given inflation, $1 today is worth more than $1 in a year. So for example, you're paying an extra $65 right now, and let's say you get $80 in a year, but that $80 might have less buying power than the $65 right now. The good thing is that inflation is generally not that aggressive, but there are some other compounding factors. Global trade being a pretty big one, and whether Costco can convince suppliers to absorb the cost or whether it hits consumers. There are arguments for it as well, even if you are right below, and we'll cover a few of those towards the end. A bit of a tangent, but one thing to be careful with is the Costco Credit Card. By all means, it can make sense, it's a good card, but it is a bit of a separate decision. With Executive, you're getting 2% back, regardless of the payment method. You don't have to have their credit card, you can use any other credit card, and you still get that 2%. So Executive has nothing to do with their card. The main draw of their card, for the purpose of this video, is an extra 2% back on Costco and Costco.com, and also 3% back on Costco Travel. I'd argue that the selling point of the card is gas and EV charging, rather than the extra 2%. The main reason being that there's a lot of cards that get you 2% back and also have no annual fee. A lot of them being 2% on everything rather than just Costco. For example, the Fidelity Rewards card is 2% back, no annual fee. It's a Visa, so you can use it at Costco. And if you do, you get 2% on the card and also 2% from Executive. If you don't care about the other multipliers like gas, then this is better since it's 2% everywhere, not just Costco. There also are a ton of other middle options as well if you want to make it more complex. So for example, if you have more than 100,000 invested with Merrill Lynch, then their system might make sense. On the travel end, the Capital One Venture X is probably your best bet that gets you 2x miles on everything. There is a $395 annual fee. You get up to $300 as an annual travel credit for bookings through Capital One Travel. And you also get 10,000 miles as an anniversary bonus every year after the first one, and that's worth at least $100 towards travel. So $400 in travel value for that $395 annual fee. The benefit of miles is that you can transfer them from Capital One to airlines and get a lot more value. This is how normal people with normal jobs can fly first in business without destroying their savings. On that note, if you want to learn about this card or pretty much any other card out there and you want to support the channel, we do have links on our website, asksebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, but otherwise, it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Speaking of travel, the Executive membership is great for this. So part of it is the extra 2% back, and that's on top of what you get off your credit card, but you also get other benefits. It does depend on the hotel, and the strategy generally here is to look for cheaper places because the value is kind of fixed. So for example, if you want to go to London, get daily breakfast, and also $400 as a London tour credit. There's a ton here, I'm not going to read through it, so feel free to pause, but pretty good by booking through them. If you book through them and you have Executive, you get even more benefits. So for example, food and beverage credit, afternoon tea service, and potentially lunch, depending on how long you're staying. For other places, even more expensive ones, it might be a lot simpler. So for example, let's say you want to go to Moorea in French Polynesia. By booking with Costco Travel, you get daily breakfast and a special amenity for honeymoon couples, and also a welcome lei. If you have Executive, you're getting an extra $75 resort credit per room per stay. So in this case, $75 is nice to have, but that 2% is probably more impactful. Especially for the trips, that might be $3,500 per person. That 2% starts to add up pretty fast. If you are buying other services like insurance, then there might also be an edge. We'll look at one as an example, but it also does depend on state from my understanding. For Connect Insurance, if you have an Executive membership, you get roadside assistance, lifetime renewability, home glass repair reimbursement, and home lockout assistance. They have a ton of partners, varies by state, and it can also change. Summarizing the ones at the moment, there's a pretty big list, so feel free to pause and read through it. The main idea is that you get discounts, additional or personalized coverage, or waived fees. For me, nothing really jumps out, but kind of curious about you and what you have liked and what you haven't liked. In our case, we haven't used any of these, so we'd attribute 0 value, but for you, it might be different. The last one, and a bit of a weird one, is going to be precious metals. Definitely not for everyone, but Costco does sell gold bars. It's not money, but it's still pretty liquid. With the Costco Executive membership, you're getting 2% back even on gold. This is such a big thing that they even have their own calculator page. It's on Costco.com and they have a metals rewards calculator and emphasizing that 2% rewards. It is pretty basic though, and the idea is to help you calculate how much you're getting back with either Executive and or their credit card. I think there are a lot of other considerations like spot price. Let's do a live example. Costco generally sells gold bars about 2% over spot. This ends up making Costco one of the cheapest places to buy gold. Gold has a spot price, and you can kind of think of it like a stock, and it does go up and down. The hard part is buying near that spot price. If you look at some other platforms like APMEX, which is the American Precious Metals Exchange, they're selling 50 grams of gold for about $5,500. If you sort by cheapest and available, you have $5,450. Spot price value of 50 grams of gold right now is about $5,200. With APMEX, you are paying about $250 extra above the spot price. In contrast, Costco has this for about $53.69, so about $169 above spot, but still $81 cheaper than one of the other largest platforms. This is before considering that you get 2% back here that you wouldn't get elsewhere. Purchase price times 2% means that you're getting $107.40 back, and if you knock that off from the purchase price, the effective price is $5,263. So this is spot price, this is the competitors, this is Costco, and this is Costco with that 2%. Doing the math for 50 grams, you're paying a $58 difference or premium. So still paying more, but that's before considering credit cards. This is a purchase, it's not a cash advance, and if you're paying off your cards in full every month, then there's no additional fees. In that case, of a 2% back credit card times the purchase price means that you're getting almost $108 in cash back. So yes, you're paying $58 more, but you're getting $107, almost $108 back, meaning that you actually get about $50.49.40 in net value above the cost. Also factor in that if you use a card that earns miles or points, then the value can be even higher because instead of 2%, you're getting 2x miles, and 2x miles might be worth 4% or a lot more. A lot of this does assume that you're holding it rather than selling it right now, and if you do have to sell it, then the equation changes a bit. Most good places will buy it from you at spot price minus 1 to 3% for a transaction fee. If you're not comfortable with the price, shop around, and yeah, gold has a pretty fixed value. It's kind of like a currency. Again, definitely not for everyone, but if you are trying to buy gold and you want it physical rather than on just an exchange and buying an ETF of it, and you want to buy it as close to spot as possible, then Costco is a pretty good way to do it. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, asksebby.com, and also down below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a gold coin emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what are your thoughts on Costco Executive? Do you have it? Is it worth it? Number 2, what factors do you consider for it? Is it mostly the 2% or is it something else? Number 3, is there anything you like to buy from Costco's? For me, it's going to be whiskeys and also gold and steaks and stuff. Those never really hurt. Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, hit the like button, subscribe, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time. There's something rattling in here and I don't think I should shake it. Let me just check because I'm kind of curious now. It's this metal thing shaking. Purchase price was $2,359.